Video tonight needs no introduction. I am with Dr. Ethel Vento Zahra. I thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. A lot of people have read about you, and very few people don't know about what you've been through and your condition. But for those people who are watching us tonight, can we sort of very briefly tell them what you've gone through since 2015?
Well, basically, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015, and obviously had treatment and so on. But then in 2018, I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, which is a form of cancer where the cancer spreads to other organs in the body or other places in the body. And at this point in time, there is no cure for this. There's a lot of treatment which basically aims to stabilize the condition of the patient. And it's like a chronic disease. So you continuously need some form of treatment or another, and you basically try to get on with your life as much as you can within the limitations imposed by wherever this has spread to.
You've managed to remain very positive always. How do you do it?
Well, I have a lot of bad days as well. So I do have good days, but I try to live life day by day, and I try to live every day to the maximum as much as I can. It's not easy, and I have a lot of help from a psychologist. I've had a lot of help from the people around me. I look at my daughter, and basically that is what pushes me to try and keep on going. I would like to see her grow up. I would like to be able to be there for her when she is older. So basically, that's pretty much the thing which keeps me going. My family, who are very, very, very supportive.
Absolutely, I know.
Admittedly, even healthcare professionals are very supportive, and they try to help you out as best as they can. But obviously, on a day-to-day basis, you need positive influences as well. And that is provided very much by colleagues, which are very important, and support from work and so on. And the family, which is always, at least for me, the most important thing that keeps me going.
You come from a very close-knit family.
Yes.
And we've spoken about your childhood before.
Yes.
Can we very briefly give people a feel of the type of environment you grew up in?
Well, I grew up with my sister, who's a year and a half older than I am.
And also a dentist, right?
And also a dentist, yes. My father used to work abroad mainly, so we used to see him for shorter times. But the times when he was here, we obviously used to try and enjoy him to the best of our abilities. My mother is a very independent lady who basically raised us pretty much by herself while my father was away, in times where we're not talking about today, we're talking about 40 years ago. So times were different then. But she still raised us to be very independent, but to help each other out and help other people out. My mother is a nurse. She's a retired nurse. She still tries to help people as much as she can. She's always very active on a voluntary basis. So she kind of brought us up with her same values, and always making it so important for us to be close to each other and to support each other.
So this family support and your family living very close to you also
Yes, yes.
has given you a lot of strength, I think.
It has given me a lot of strength, but it also gives me a lot of help on a daily basis as well. I have help with raising my daughter. I have help with taking care of my daughter. I also have help from my in-laws, but obviously my direct family, my parents and my sister live very close to me, so they help me out a lot. Even my aunties live close, so they help out a lot. It makes a difference when you have support in such situations.
Of course it does. I'm glad you've got that support. What about your daughter? Tell us about your daughter. She's grown up with you.
Yes, my daughter is now 9.5 years old. She obviously understands that I have some limitations, although I would try to not have any limitations. It's impossible not to have any. She tries to help me out sometimes. Obviously, she's a 9-year-old child, so there are limits to the help she can offer and also limits to what I would expect from her. And she's still a child, so she knows about the situation and understands what a 9-year-old can understand. She's always quite cheerful, thankfully, except when exams are coming up and revision. We've just been through that, but overall, thankfully, she seems to have adapted well to the situation. She also goes to therapy because I believe it's something very important. So she goes to play therapy, and we seem to be doing okay.
That's really good. What about COVID-19? I know you've passed through a bad time during COVID-19.
Yes.
But you also worked at the same time. You were a frontliner, really.
Yes. Well, COVID-19 affected pretty much everyone, I would say. It affected me in that I couldn't go out physically since I'm deemed to be vulnerable. But thankfully, I work with the superintendents of public health. They're very flexible. Obviously, the superintendent of public health needed a lot of work and is still carrying out a lot of work at the moment, and I could work from home. They found me work that I could carry out from home. We were all very busy, and we still are. Thankfully, that kept me sane to a certain extent, because last year I also had a lot of stays at hospital where because of COVID, you couldn't have visitors, or else in certain wards you could have visitors just for 1 hour. You couldn't go out of your room. So there wasn't really much to keep you occupied. But thankfully, my work could actually keep me occupied. I took my computer with me and tried to continue as much as I could to try and keep myself sane, basically.
From what I see, there are a lot of ups and downs.
Yes.
Because, I mean, thank God you look amazing today. And I know a year ago...
A year ago, I was in a very different place. Yes, metastatic breast cancer has a lot of ups and downs. It depends on each and every case because it depends on how much spread you have, where it has spread to. All this affects the outcomes, basically. So there are people with metastatic breast cancer who will have more ups, and there are people who will have more downs. When you're going through the downs, you don't, at least I don't necessarily have a very positive attitude every day. It's a bit difficult to have a positive attitude when you're continuously getting bad news, for example. But I do try and reflect on how long this road has been and how many downs we've been through, and we've kind of been through them. So I look forward to actually getting through these those particular downs at the time and maybe reaching at least, if not highs, like a plateau where I can at least have some kind of constancy and not keep expecting sort of bad things to happen.
That's very positive. What about the side effects of medication and chemotherapy?
Well, there are quite a lot. The most obvious ones generally are that your hair, eyebrows, and eyelashes fall out, depending on the type of treatment that you're on. This has happened to me for 3 times so far. You don't really feel that great about yourself, even though you might not be a person who is very interested in looks, in your looks. It still affects you when you look in the mirror and see that you can barely recognize yourself. You gain weight, so you end up literally not recognizing yourself. But these things change, they yo-yo. You sometimes go back to looking relatively normal. And then you have the other side effects, such as effects on other organs, effects on your stomach, effects on nausea, effects on basic functions of your body, and also aches and pains, joint aches, and so on. All this obviously affects your quality of life to some extent. And there are obviously always ways and means to try and minimize the side effects, but that generally means taking other medications. There are some limitations. For example, I have some balance issues, which means that I have to wear flat shoes, I can't wear heels, I have a closet full of beautiful shoes, which I love.
It's not such a bad thing in the summer.
Yes, which I just look at and can't wear. So they're trivial. Some of things are trivial things in reality. For me, as long as I can live on and keep on enjoying the people around me and my life, these things are pretty minimal. Little sacrifices which don't count that much.
Of course. What about your charitable work? I know you've been very supportive with Strina. Tell us more about that.
Strina have been super supportive with me, so it's the least I can do. Strina support so many people through very bad points in their life. Not just necessarily for cancer, but for so many other things. It's unimaginable. The amount of people they help is something enormous. So I definitely always encourage people to donate, because there is never enough money to go around. There are never enough funds, no matter how much we give, because they keep on helping. They never refuse to help, which is admirable.
How supportive should people be at home? How much should they participate? Because, I mean, a lot of people are supportive in Malta, but not everyone is. How do you think more people should get involved in these type of causes?
Well, I think there's never too much support. There can never be too much. And if one can support, please go ahead and do so, because there are a lot of people who need help and support. I'm not going to say this just for myself, because at least I have support at home. There are other people who don't even have that. So it makes it all so much more difficult. So it's, I think, super important to be charitable as much as possible towards these charities that support a lot of individuals and who need constant financial backing, obviously.
What about other sort of support, like, for example, blood transfusion?
Yes, blood transfusions are super important, not just for cancer patients, but I have to say I've had to have a number of blood transfusions myself because of cancer. But just blood transfusion, I think, is the best gift you can ever give anyone, because it's a gift of life, literally. You are giving life to a person or a number of persons with your donation, and ideally you get onto a roster of regular donations when it comes to blood transfusions, to blood donations, because people need transfusions 365 days a year, so some people have to donate.
Yes, I mean, that's a good idea if they do. And what about COVID-19? Your thoughts going forward as a public health professional?
Well, what I would say would be, please get vaccinated. It is important for everyone. It is important for people like me who are vulnerable as well, and it is important for people who cannot get vaccinated for some medical reason. If medically there is no reason why one shouldn't get vaccinated, please get vaccinated, because that is the only way out of this situation, I think.
Yes. And what about a positive message to share today with our viewers?
I would say always try to look at the good things you have in life. We have a lot of good things in life which we sort of sometimes don't focus on. We just keep thinking about what we want next and what more we want. Let's be appreciative of what we actually have, because that is most of the time the core values, the family, the close ties. The rest is all icing on the cake, maybe.
Do you see us getting out of this pandemic?
I really hope we do. I think with the right means and the right measures, vaccination being a very big part of it, I think we will get back to some kind of normal. Maybe our normal will not be the exact normal we had before, but at least being able to travel, being able to go out and enjoy ourselves, being able to pretty much enjoy everything without too many restrictions. I think that, yes, we should get there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vento Zahra. Thank you for joining us. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank
I
you
really wish
for
you
the
the very
invite.
best of luck.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've been today speaking with Dr. Ethel Vento Zahra. If you have any questions, comments, queries, please do send them on the number that appears on the screen. I'm Leah Hogg for Net TV. The program next week will air on Tuesday. Good evening.